Tonight, I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you, boy. Yeah, yeah. All I think about is you, boy. All I think about is yeah, yeah. All I think about is you, boy. All I think about is So today is show and tell day. I am so excited because today is living proof that if I can grow sprouts, you can grow sprouts. Hey, today we are going to look at all that we've been doing over the last few days to grow some sprouts and see the fruits of our very simple labor today. So we are your daily energy bite, the Deb Show, and today we are going to show you what we've been doing. It's your bit of vitality for the day. All right. Hey, OJ, good to see you today. Well, good to see you're online.
Yay, good to see
Yay.
you.
All right. So are you ready to see what we've done? So let's just do a little recap of sprouting. So
Yes,
sprouting,
I'm ready.
we have three phases. We have the soaking phase, the sprouting phase, and the growing or fermenting phase. And so we have
Yeah,
done different, I guess, combinations of sprouting and getting things to be also microgreens as well. We talked yesterday about microgreens. And so we're going to look at some of those things that we did today. So we did our soaking, sprouting, and then we've got some that are starting to grow. And also, I'm going to show you something that we're fermenting. Also, although we didn't do it today, I want us to remind everybody to make sure you soak your nuts and seeds to remove the enzyme inhibitors that are helping to keep the seeds viable, to keep them from spoiling, and also, not to keep them from growing or from going rancid before we're ready to use them. And the sprouts that we're using they are real, coming from places like I've bought them online, and they're meant for sprouting. So they're actually dedicated for sprouting. Okay, so we are going to start by showing off our lentils. So we have been sprouting green lentils, and we're going to show them off now. So I have two things of green lentils I'll show you. One is about 5 days old, and one is about 2 days old. So here is our 2-day-old lentils, and I've got some up close pictures. So when I put these lentils into the jar, they were probably up to about here. So they're about double now the volume in the jar than what it was when I started. So, and you can see the little tails are starting to come out, and some of the husks on the lentils are being removed, and falling off. So this is my lentil sprouts at
yeah.
2 days old, and I have some that are at 5 days old here. And this is like the maximum.
Wow.
And you can see, like now they're almost quadruple the volume that they were. And these
Yeah,
ones here are pretty much at the end of their sprouting, and I've actually put them in the fridge to stop them or slow down. It won't stop the sprouting, but it'll slow it down a lot. And how I know that they're at the end is I'm starting to see little bits of green showing up. So the green leaves are starting to come out on this one. So these ones are like totally ready to go and ready to eat. And I did try some, and you can eat them now. They're soft now. They're kind of crunchy, but they're softer. And yeah, they have a crunch to them.
yeah.
So what You can put them on salads. You can put them into your smoothie. You can make a soup with them. They taste like, um, what do they taste like? They taste like, um, have you ever had, peas? I don't know if you've had peas in the shell. So these are our sprouted
Yes.
lentils that are ready to go, Kathy. And they taste like, if you were to eat a fresh pea out of the shell. That's what they taste like. That's at least the closest I can come up with is that. So I wanted to, today I actually have a bit of a presentation. So I'm going to put the presentation up. What I did is I've done a pictures of these various sprouts, so we can see them up close and personal today. And so the sprout on the left side here is our 5-day-old sprouts. And I think you can see you can see little bits of green showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where it's starting to get the foliage. So that's kind of the end. You do not want to go past that for your sprouted lentils. That's kind of where you want to be. So I would say, so that's about 5 days. Oh, I think you could cut it off at 4 days, depending on what you're doing. If you have, a need for them right away, because they will in the fridge, they will continue to sprout, but at a slower rate. So I would say maybe you want to put them in the fridge kind of before they get to this point, if you can kind of manage that where the sprouts are starting to turn green. And then the sprouts on the right side are at 2 days. So you can see that the tails are coming out, but there's definitely a little bit more time for the tails to really flourish. All right. So that is my lentil sprouts. And so you can eat them, put them in a salad, put them in a smoothie, or I'm going to try making a lentil soup with them. And you could put them, as a garnish on a bowl if you're doing a bowl. So there's different ways that you can do it. Add some protein, and other vitamin C is very big in lentils once they're sprouted. Okay, so now we're going to turn to quinoa. So I have a couple of quinoa things here. I hope I have one. I brought one. So I'm going to show you the quinoa and what it looks like, because the quinoa is hard to see. So this is hard. So I wanted to try and show you. So this one on the right here is 2 days old, the quinoa. And the one on the left is 5 days old. And I have it in water because I am fermenting it. So it's going to ferment, and it actually makes a very lovely drink when it's fermented. So that's what I'm doing with this quinoa. So it's soaking again after I sprout it. So I soaked it. Then I did the sprouting where I rinsed it twice a day and turned the jar upside down to drain it for a couple of days. I don't know if you can see, in this one, there are some tails. You can see in the one that's sprouting, you can see there's a few tails. But with quinoa, you might see like little microscopic tails, but they're not that big. And I think in the one on the right, if you look really closely, you can see the tails. I don't know if I can magnify it. Oh, there's the magnified version. And so it's not very easy to see, but you can, if you look closely, see a few little tails.
Yep, I see some.
Yeah, so this is in the 2-day-old one, but that's really hard to see. So I sprouted, I think, for 3 days, and then 3 or 4 days, and then I started to make it into what we call Rejuvelac, which is the fermented quinoa. So it's a fermented grains, and quinoa is a really good one. So this is fermenting. I basically just leave it on the counter like this, and then a couple times a day come by and just not really shake it, but just move it around. And you can see I've only got a little bit of quinoa here. And this, when it's ready, which is probably going to be tomorrow, is like a little a lemony type flavor of a drink, and very refreshing. And it's fermented, so it's good for your gut health. It's a good probiotic, fermented foods.
So you sprouted the quinoa
Yep.
for like 2 or 3 days,
Yep.
and then you put some in the jar and then filled it with water.
Yeah. I just left them in the jar. So I sprouted
Oh.
them in the jar. So I started with soaking them for I think a half a day. And then I'll give you the directions because I have directions on how to make Rejuvelac. But I sprouted them for about half a day. And then once I sprouted them, I soaked them. And then I did the sprouting where you rinse them and turn the jar over so that it can drain for, I think, 2 or 3 days. And then from there, I put water in. And now I'm just leaving the water in to ferment. And it actually is a very nice lemony flavor. And I've seen people use this for making cheeses and things like plant-based cheeses as well. So there's lots of things that you can do with it. You could probably make a salad dressing, a fermented salad dressing. There are lots of different ways that you can use your fermented liquids to boost the nutrition of the things. All right, so now I'm going to show you, I'm just going to show you our wheatgrass that we started yesterday. You can, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to change the view so maybe you can see it better.
I see some tails.
The little tails are starting to come out. We've got little tails. And tomorrow we are going to do a whole day on wheatgrass. So tomorrow is wheatgrass day. So this is just a sneak preview of the wheatgrass. Right. So I feel like I'm doing show and tell here. Next, we have, what are we going to do next? We have our, I'm going to do our broccoli sprouts next. So these ones are cool. So I put some in the tray, and I've also put some in we did the microgreens, so I have some in the microgreens. So I have some broccoli sprouts that I've put on my hemp mat, and I watered them, and this is where they're at. Oops, I think
it's live. It's live.
It is. They are live. And then I have the ones that I put in the sprouting tray. So they're there. Now you see all that white stuff that looks like, so you might, this is what you could mistake for mold. Those are really fine hairs. And if you look on the bottom.
Oh, wow.
It's really, I kind of moved them around. And they're probably, I think they may be ready to harvest. I have to check on that. But that's where these ones are. And I'm just kind of moving them around here. Move them around, kind of get them loose off of the bottom.
Yeah, if you hadn't said watch out for the things, I really would have thought that was mold.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you, I have a picture. Of course I have a picture. So let's show so these are, I think, where is it here? Where can you see? Oh, my picture. Oh, I guess I don't have, I'm disappointed. Yeah, there it is.
There's the hair.
Yeah, so those are microscopic hairs that are just a whole bunch of them. They're not mold. They're hairs. And so the other way, here's a good way, is to do the sniff test. They smell like broccoli, but they don't, have that little bit of a smell of broccoli, but they don't have a smell like they are rotting. So that's another thing. But yeah, you should be able to see, like if you go up close, you can see that they're microscopic hairs versus mold. And so and then I have the ones, I didn't bring them, but I have the ones that we did yesterday. We soaked yesterday. And so this is 1 day worth of soaking. And now I've got them. So I soaked them yesterday, and then now they are draining and I'm sprouting them. They're at the sprouting stage. So you can see the little sprouts are starting to come out. And then the one in the middle is, the one in the middle is in our tray. That's the tray. And so those ones are about 5 days old. So that's kind of where they're at. And then this is the ones that I planted, like I put on the sprouting tray, microgreen tray. So these ones are, one of them is a couple of days old, and the other one is probably, these ones are probably about 2 to 3 days old. So it doesn't take long for the broccoli sprouts to start showing up at all. Okay. I heard my kitty or your kitty.
Yeah, I'll go on mute.
Oh, it's okay. He's cute. Yeah, so hang on. Here again is the broccoli sprouts. You can't see the little bit of the hairs are here, but not a lot. All right, so that's the broccoli sprouts. And then the last one I have to show you is the sandwich. I did the sandwich blend. So here on the right side is a couple days. These ones are the ones that we started yesterday. So they're on day 2. And you can see, especially the mung beans seem to be like the ones that kind of come out the furthest. So the mung beans are the big beans in there, and you can see for sure the tails on those. So again, I finished the soaking last night, and now I'm draining them so that they can sprout. So we're at day 2, and then I have the ones that I did that I started sprouting on the mat, the hemp mat. And so this is what they look like. So they're actually really starting to sprout, those ones. I think this is them here. But again, the mung beans are the ones that come the fastest.
Yeah, they're really reaching for the sky, aren't they?
Yeah, the mung beans are, for sure. All right. So that is my little show and tell for today on sprouting. So I don't know if you have any questions on the sprouting. I'm gonna tell you again, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I can't say that enough. I'm trying to encourage people to try. It's very, very easy. I honestly, to me, the easiest thing to do is to just take a mason jar. You don't even have to have a lot. One of those mason jar caps that for the sproutings that have the holes in them. Put the water in, and then put them right by the sink. And so in the morning and at night, you just kind of, while you're doing dishes or whatever you're doing, you just dump them upside down in the sink, let them drain out, and then rinse them with the water and put them back. So easy. Almost foolproof, but I'm not going to say that because somebody will challenge me on that. But
Was
like
the
I said,
quinoa from a box? Like, was it regular quinoa or was it a special type of quinoa?
no, it was just from a box or a bag. Yeah, it was
Okay.
just the plain white quinoa. I have a blend of like black, white, and red quinoa or black and white quinoa. I just did the white quinoa. I have, that one. So yeah, it was just regular quinoa. And then like after a couple of days, you can cook it just like you would normally cook it, and it will have a milder flavor because now you've gotten rid of the enzyme inhibitors and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you find quinoa, because I I can tell you a story if that's okay.
Sure.
I bought quinoa from our favorite store, Kathy.
Costco.
So it was a big bag of, it wasn't small because Costco never has anything in small quantities. And it just tasted horrible. It was horrible. So I
Oh,
wish at that point I would have known the little trick to sprout them because they tasted horrible. So what I did is like I didn't want to throw it out. And where I work, we have a lot of pigeons and they're walking around, and they like literally they eat almost everything off the street. They're pecking it all over them. So I took some of the quinoa. I thought I'd be nice to them, and I took the quinoa and I sprinkled it around one of their favorite areas. They wouldn't eat it.
oh, that's pretty bad.
So I'm like, okay, that means something. Yeah, they really wouldn't eat the quinoa. I don't know if it was too hard or what, but I was surprised. Maybe I'm just, um, at the just, I guess I'll say the word ignorant about what pigeons will eat, but I know they did not bite. That quinoa was there for a few days till it blew away.
Do you do you think you just got a bad bag of it at Costco, or does that brand not appeal to you and your family?
Well, what I do know is that I kind of went back to the brand that I know works for us, and that's what I buy. I do that with rice as well because I find some rices are quite dirty, and
Mm.
so I there and others seem to be cleaner. So like when I'm doing my brown rice, I always seem to go back to the same brand that I know and I trust. So I do that same thing for the quinoa. I never, I didn't buy it again at Costco. Not that it was Costco, but that brand, I don't know what it was. But maybe if I would have soaked it, it would have been better. I don't know. So, when you're doing the sprouting, like sprouting your nuts, so one of the tips for sprouting the nuts, and you could do it for the, if you do it for the quinoa, because you have to dry it out. I could try it. I've never tried drying out quinoa. But the thing is that you want to, with the nuts especially, you can actually, if you buy a bag of nuts, um, sprout all of them and then they're ready to go so that you can use them whenever. You don't have to wait till, oh, I'm going to be using walnuts in my brownie recipe. You don't need to wait until you're doing it. You could have them already sprouted so that you don't have to worry about it and then store them in the fridge or the freezer. So that's kind of a pro tip there. And some of it, like, if you're soaking your quinoa for a day or whatever before you use it, it's just a matter of planning. And so that goes to, really doing meal prep and doing some meal planning so that you know what you're doing. So if you're doing everything last minute, then that becomes harder. But I would advocate it. I know I'm not always the best at it, but I do advocate for planning ahead if you can, for sure. All right. Are there any other questions for today?
None that I can think of.
All right. So we are good. I already mentioned, but tomorrow is all about wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is like the lifeblood of plants. It has so many benefits that we are going to talk about tomorrow. And we're going to show you, we're growing all sorts of wheatgrass. So we'll show you where we are in our progress for growing our wheatgrass. But I can tell you, we're not going to have any to juice tomorrow. So we want to follow our sprouts to the end, and we'll be doing that into next week. But I'm excited for wheatgrass tomorrow. So we will see you tomorrow for our kind of wrap up of this. Well, the wrap up of this week, and we will continue on with our sprouting to see all of these sprouts to the end until they're ready to eat. All right. So have a great day. And I just want to let you know that my newsletter is coming out every Thursday. It's called Nourish and Flourish. And so if you're interested in getting some additional tips and tricks on foods, and we talk about gratitude and some mindset things, then see the link in the description and sign up for my newsletter, Nourish and Flourish. So have a great day, everyone. We will see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.